going on, guys? It's your girl Angie Snatch coming at you with another episode of An Unbiased Truth. I want to break down the United States versus the White Reed et al. Case, in which four additional charges have been made against Casanova two times, who is now facing a total of seven charges. So there's one count of attempted murder and assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering. It's for the October 24th incident. One count of assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering. That is from July 2020. One count of racketeering conspiracy. One count of narcotics conspiracy. One count of possession of firearms, and two counts of use of firearms in furtherance of a crime. Now, I have a theory that the U.S. attorney can see the pressure of confinement getting to him, and they're trying to box him in for a plea deal. Four of his co-defendants have already pled out so far in this case, and these particular charges could have been included very early on with this evidence that they've had since earlier this year, unless they were waiting for the perfect time to turn up the heat, or maybe they found something more concrete. But like almost every other charge in the case, the feds found all of their information that they're alleging through, you can guess it, cell phone records, social media, text messages, iCloud sweeps. So I want to get into this October 24th shooting in Miami, and I want to show you that the feds had no idea of this shooting originally. They were originally investigating Dick Wolf, who is Dwight Reed, and the case is called United States versus Dwight Reed et al. They were originally investigating Dick Wolf in the Gorilla Stone Nation in New York City, operating from Poughkeepsie to Peekskill, Brooklyn. So they were trying to go over after the Gorilla Stone Nation in New York. Through that, they got a wiretap of Deshaun Thomas, who is also in that additional charge with Casanova for the July 2020 event. So after doing a sweep of Deshaun Thomas's phone, I'm sure they got everyone's phone, they discovered this man. This man's name is Jared Crisler. He is who is alleged to have done the shooting on October 24th with Casanova. So he was originally charged because, remember, they only discover him through Deshaun Thomas' phone. In Deshaun Thomas' phones, what they discover is that Jared Crisler is a weapon supplier. So he actually is from Florida, Orlando, Florida, and from a different Gorilla Stone Nation set. So that's why they're charging with this conspiracy and racketeering, because what they're saying is the gang operates in different sets, or how they call it caves. So not all co-defendants know each other because they are from different sets. Like I said, from Peekskill to Poughkeepsie to Brooklyn. Now, Jared Crisler is in Florida. Through Deshaun Thomas' phone tap, they discover text messages between Crisler and Deshaun Thomas of weapons, so pictures and prices. And they also discover that he makes frequent trips up to New York to sell firearms. So he's originally charged in Florida for weapons trafficking that they find out through that Deshaun Thomas phone sweep. And I want to prove it to you. This is a transcript from his case in Florida. This is from, let me go to page 1, sorry. Page 1. This is from December 8th, 2020 in Orlando, Florida. And he's charged with weapons trafficking. Now, I'm going to go down to page 7. Line 7. I'm going to start at line 7. My computer's running slow. Let me plug up my charger really quick, guys. Give me a second. We would submit, Your Honor, that the defendant does have a very real risk of not appearing based on the charges that have been alleged, which are very serious charges. Count 1 carries a maximum of 5 years. A second substantive count carries a maximum of 10 years in the Bureau of Prisons. We would advise, Your Honor, that this again is not a tangential relationship to the gang, that he's a very high ranking member of the Florida collective. This is his detention hearing, and the prosecution is trying to convince the judge that he's not just a random weapon supplier, guy that sells guns illegally without a license. He is a member of the gang. He is a very high ranking member of the Florida collective, the Florida Cave. So it's not just happenstance that he happens to engage with other members of the gang, Your Honor. More troubling for the government and to the court, Your Honor, is during the course of this investigation, it's discovered through wiretaps and other means of investigation, Your Honor, violence is what fuels this gang. It's actually what allows you to advance in its ranks, Your Honor. And violence is a tenet, therefore, of this gang, we would proffer to the court. Now, in the conspiracy count, Your Honor, of the co-conspirators who's now been indicted and charged in SDNY, and if you go back, Crisler is not in the original charge. The original indictment out of New York was filed November 23rd. Go back, his name is not listed at all. Here's where they explain how he comes into play. Co-conspirators who's now been indicted and charged in SDNY, Deshaun Thomas, also known as Don, is a leader of the Immortal Stone Gorilla Gang Cave, also known as the Goons. I think they're out of Brooklyn. Mr. Thomas is alleged to have ordered several weapons from the defendant to supply the Gorilla Stone Gang. And, Your Honor, once again, this case is born from multiple members of the gang being indicted through a review of photos, cell phones, jail calls, iCloud records, and the like that show that Gorilla Stone is a sophisticated financial operation for a street gang, which again lends credence to the government's position that he does have access to the means to flee, which would prevent him from appearing before a future court, which goes to the risk of flight. Now, this is from December 8th. Remember, I said he was picked up through them doing a sweep of Deshaun Thomas' phone, who is a Gorilla Stone alleged member out of Brooklyn, who does know Casanova. Now, I want to go down to the court now ask a question in this transcript. And this is where you can evidently see that they had no idea, because it was through this, after this court case for the weapons trafficking, that the prosecutor and the government now get access to Crisler's phone. See, because before it was just Thomas's phone. So they just have their exchange between the gun sales. Once they get Crisler charged, now they have his phone and they go through his iCloud account. And then that is when on January 21st, over a month later, they then charge Crisler originally with the murder. But let me read this question from the court. The court. Is there any evidence that is it Crisler or Crisler? Mr. Crisler himself is engaged in any of this dangerous activity? This is Mr. Lavanos, the prosecutor. Your Honor, we would submit that Mr. Crisler, based upon the investigator's case, merely supplied the actual weapons. I don't believe there's any substantive evidence at this time he actually carried out any of the violent acts, Your Honor, because they were only working from Deshaun Thomas' iCloud sweep, showing that he was supplying weapons to the gangs in New York. Now, I'm going to play the October 24th news clip of the Miami shooting, and then I'll get into the background and what they discover in Crisler's phone once they got that. But this is still going to be, after I play the news clip, you'll see this is still in January that Casanova is identified and they still do not charge, which lends credence to my point that they were waiting for the perfect time to turn up the heat. But let's watch this news clip.
Now at 7, police are investigating a double shooting in Miami. Officers say it happened in the parking lot of the KOD Miami Club early Saturday morning. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue airlifted 2 victims to the Ryder Trauma Center. Police have yet to release any information about a suspect, and they say the investigation is ongoing.
Okay, so now we get into, now that's the background, that's the news clip from that time, October 24th. It happens at King of Diamonds. Now this is where in January, where now they're charging him, and Crisler actually admits to participating in the shooting. The October 24th, 2020 shooting. Based on my discussion with the detective from the Doral Police Department and my review of news coverage, I know that in the early morning hours of October 24th, 2020, a shooting occurred in front of the KOD Miami Strip Club. Pause. I don't even know why people still go there. It just seems like a dangerous place to work. At all of those dancers there, they seem to have a case for like dangerous work environment. I don't know. I feel like they have a workers' comp case. Call me, girls. During which 2 victims were shot. The October 24th shooting. As set forth below, Jared Crisler Jr., aka JC, the defendant, admitted to committing the October 24th shooting in order to protect a fellow Gorilla Stone member who was being threatened by rival gang members. Based on my review of the Crisler phone, I have learned, among other things, the following. On or about the morning of October 24th, 2020, i.e. several hours after the shooting, Crisler exchanged a series of messages using Signal. Now, Signal is like this app. Someone introduced me to it a while ago where like your messages are supposed to be private and secret. But, I mean, we should all know by now, nothing is secret. Once you put it over the airwaves, it's out there. Signal with a fellow member of Gorilla Stone, member 1. They never identify who member 1 is, by the way. The message sent by Crisler are in white text with green background. Now let me bring up the text message for you. So Crisler is texting someone. And what I realized, even with them saying member 1, what I realized in looking through the case, a lot of documents are sealed. And what happens is once the prosecutors have kind of built up, either made the arrest of someone additional, or I think comfortably built up their case on arraignment, they then motion for it to be unsealed. So these are text messages in which Jared Crisler is texting someone. They don't identify who. Killed a ninja last night, shaking my head. Some neighborhood Crip ninja. We outside the strip club and Cass taking pics with the ninjas, and the Crip ninja gonna grab Cass' hand talking about, yo homie, wrong sign. Cass asked him, you wanna die tonight? He reached on his hip and I just booked him. Everyone got missing. Onique skirted off and I let another one hit. Jit in the stomach. Good hashtag good aim. Now then, under these messages, there's a footnote from the FBI agent. Based on my training and experience and involvement in this investigation, I believe that in this series of messages, Crisler is admitting to shooting at a rival gang member, Rival 1, who he believed he had killed outside of strip club earlier that day. Specifically, Crisler admits that the shooting was sparked by a dispute between Cass, which I know to be a reference to Caswell Sr., aka Casanova, who is charged in the Gorilla Stone indictment, and Rival 1, who is a member of a rival Crip gang, some neighborhood Crip ninja. Crisler describes how Senior was taking pictures and flashing gang signs when Rival 1 took offense to the gang signs and blurted in substance to Senior, yo homie, wrong sign. Senior responded as laid out in the text message, you wanna die tonight? At which point someone reached on his hip, which I believe is a reference to reaching for a firearm. Crisler admits that he then shot Rival 1, booked him. and admitted to letting another bullet off. I let another one go, which he believed hit rival one in the stomach. Crisler ends his text message by bragging that he had hashtag good aim. And then there's a footnote describing what happens afterwards. It says, in addition to knowing, based on my participation in this investigation, that Cass is a reference to Caswell Sr., aka Casanova, I further believe Cass is a reference to Senior because in a later text message to member 1, Crisler refers to going back to Casanova shit after the shooting. And that is what they have for October 24th. It's not quite clear what they have for the July 7th case, but Casanova will be having a status hearing on November 16th or 17th. They're going to arraign him on these new charges. I would imagine after that, when they get into the discovery, well, they have to put their discovery out there, or it's probably already in the court records, but under one of those sealed documents. And I could imagine after he's officially arraigned on the charges, that then they will motion to unseal it so we can see a little more information. But what do you guys think about just the order and sequence of things, and why I think that they're trying to put pressure on him for a plea deal? Because these are messages that they have when they charged Jared Crisler January of 2021. They charged him January of 2021 using these text messages. However, they never modified the indictment or charged Casanova with it until November 8th, when they did the superseding indictment, bringing him from 3 charges now to 7 charges. However, do you think that this is just a game? Because when I see the text messages, and I'm no attorney, but when I see the text messages and we get into the legal field, now we're talking about hearsay on hearsay on hearsay, because now you're admitting text messages that Crisler is sending to someone else, not Casanova, saying good job, yeah, we got him. He's sending it to someone else, telling them about what happened with someone else that night. That's when you start to get in a double hearsay and things like that. But you guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that this is just the DA putting the pressure on Casanova? All right, guys, it's your girl Angie Snatch.